true. It does. This is a
Secretary. Wonderful.
Are you going to sign up for the Leadership Academy?
How many difficult decisions would you say you all have had to make?
I went last year.
See, I vote here, and we need to take a look at the questions. What they ask them to answer. I think we need to revamp a good amount of changes in the charter. And not one-liner answers.
On the flip
A
side,
lot of raising the question.
should be
Anne's got a 30-page PowerPoint.
And she has a copy right in front of her too. So.
Oh, no, they're gonna vote for it. And they're
Be pretty easy.
I hope.
families, and it's good to see their children. You know, I got you.
I don't know.
Be the next generation, it'll be. So, you know, you wanna. Like this woman for this.
I did, yeah, it works. Let me double check. It should be.
Sometimes I get so sick of it.
Uh-oh.
but I'm glad I can
Where's my proposed definition? Oh, it must slide in. Oh, geez. I didn't set it up to do that. Good thing I checked. I'd have been sitting here going,
Okay,
oh
are
my
we
gosh.
ready?
Okay, so I'm going to say the current definition, the proposed.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the City of Stockton Civil Service Equal Employment Commission meeting. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, good afternoon. Commissioner Cerna is absent. Commissioner Singh?
Here?
Commissioner Sylvester?
Here.
Vice Chair Sanchez?
Here.
Chair Sloan?
Here. Before we go into public comments for closed item session, I would like to take just a moment and recognize one of our new commissioners, Langston Sylvester. Is that correct?
Lanston, yes, that's fine.
Welcome aboard. We really look forward to working with you. I think I speak for the commission. We appreciate you being committed and willing to step forward and serve the city in this capacity. This is a very important commission, and so thank you. Thank you for being a part of what we do.
Thank you.
With that, I will now take public comment. These are comments for the items in closed session only. Are there any comments? Seeing none, we will close and enter into a closed session.
Commissioners are now adjourning into closed session regarding action items 1 through and including 3.6. There are no facts or circumstances to disclose at this time.
Maybe that's it. I would like to now call the regular session of the City of Stockton Civil Service Equal Employment Commission meeting to order. Can we please get a roll call?
Commissioner Cerna is absent. Commissioner Singh?
Here?
Commissioner Sylvester?
Here.
Vice Chair Sanchez?
Here.
Chair Sloan?
Here. This time we will do the pledge to the flag. Commissioner Singh, would you please lead us?
I pledge my
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we will take a report of the action taken in closed session.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Commissioners have reconvened from closed session regarding action items 3.1 through and including 3.6. All the commissioners were present during the entirety of the closed session with the exception of Commissioner Cerna, who is absent. Report is as follows regarding action items 3.1 through and including 3.4. By unanimous vote of the commissioners present, the commissioners adopted the resolutions certifying the respective eligibility lists. Regarding action items 3.5 and 3.6, by unanimous vote of the commissioners present, the commissioners approved removal of the names from the respective eligibility list. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. At this time, we are at citizens' comments and announcements. Are there any citizens' comments? Very well. So we will move into some special recognitions. Our first one is a certificate of appreciation for 2 years of commitment and contribution to the Civil Service Commission, and that is with Doug Vigil. Doug, would you? Sure, I have. It is with great honor, Doug, that I recognize you for your commitment to the City of Stockton, to the Commission, and the work you've done with the Commission over the last 2 years. We were very sad to see you step away, but we understand sometimes things get in the way and we have to do other things. So with that being said, we have a certificate of appreciation. I hope you will continue your civil service in the community by getting engaged in some other way through the city, another committee, whatever it may be. And once a part of the family, I always think of you always being a part of the family. So congratulations for all you've given.
Thank you so much. I am really, really honored and really appreciate everything that everyone, including the staff, and really changing a lot for me. For 2 years, you were the best person I ever met, and even the board members, including the Salon and Cancha and Sheen. I mean, you guys are a perfect, good, awesome leader. And the new commissioner, you're going to be in good hands with the staff, and you're going to learn everything, and you're going to be well taken care of. I really appreciate that. I really thank everyone for acknowledging and took this opportunity to take this good, a greater responsibility. And I thank you so much for everything that I learned from you guys. Thank you so much.
We also had a certificate for Shelley Lima. Unfortunately, Shelley is not able to be here today, so we're going to try to reschedule that presentation. For those of you who don't know, Shelley is heavily involved with the wildfires right now in Napa and Sonoma, of providing some services for those victims that have been heavily impacted by this situation. It's such a very sad situation. So kudos to her for what she's doing and providing the services that they need. So we'll see Shelley in the future and present that certificate at that time. Okay, we are now at the consent calendar. There are 2 items, the approval of the commission minutes and a request to conduct a promotional examination of police lieutenant. Are there any comments from commissioners? Very well, I'll take a motion to accept or adopt the consent calendar.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone oppose? Abstention? Very well. We are now at unfinished business, and we have nothing scheduled for today. We have a request for appeals and public hearings. Nothing has been put on the calendar. However, our next area is appeals and public hearings, and we do have a public hearing. So I would like at this moment to open the public hearing for to amend Rule 1 of the Civil Service Rules and Regulations for miscellaneous employees, and Rule 1, Section 5 of the Civil Service Rules and Regulations for police and fire employees, which is in relation to definition of terms, I believe. Staff report, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Sloan and Commissioners. I am Ann Simpson, an analyst in human resources. At the September 21st meeting, HR requested a public hearing to present 2 rule changes for your consideration. You will find our staff report on page 32 in your binders under tab 12.1. And for your reference, a copy of the presentation has been provided to you as well. The rule changes pertain to Rule 1, definition of terms for the Civil Service Rules and Regulations for miscellaneous employees, and Rule 1, Section 5, definition of terms for the Civil Service Rules and Regulations for police and fire employees. Current language in both sets of rules define the personnel officer as the city manager of the City of Stockton. The proposed definition of the personnel officer would be the city manager of the City of Stockton or designee. The duties of the personnel officer as contained in the Civil Service Rules are primarily administrative and routine in nature. And currently the rules as written do not give the personnel officer the express authority to designate a representative to act on his or her behalf. The proposed changes will not affect the manner in which the rules are currently being administered. The reasons for the proposed change is that it does give the personnel officer the express authority to designate the representative to act upon his or her behalf. It eliminates the need for routine personnel matters to be reviewed and approved by the city manager, and it expedites the approval process. All unions representing were notified on August 17, 2017 of the city's intent to bring these changes to commission today, and no issues or concerns have been raised. That concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer those.
At this time, we'll take any public comments regarding the rule change. Open the public hearing. Open the public hearing. I thought I could just ask for comment. Okay, thank you. Open, note. Open the public hearing. Are there any comments from the public regarding the rule change? Seeing none, I close the public hearing and I open comments and any other questions that the commission might have at this time.
I have a question. Is there a more defining description of who designee could be other than the city manager?
No, I don't think we have a definition of designee. Right now, the routine matters like certifying a vacancy list, if it's the department has an opening and there's a budgeted position open, it's me, HR, is doing it. And so that's basically, I would say, for each of these, it's the HR director that is taking these more routine actions. So this isn't a change in practice in any way. We're just trying to catch the rules up to the actual practice. Is that for every vacancy being filled, the lists being certified to the departments, or some of these more routine items are being done by the HR director.
Okay. So currently, the city manager then reviews the items. If the city manager is not available, then the HR director reviews them.
Right now, they're just staying with the HR department.
I have a question. Who assigns this designee? Like, so city manager or HR is going to say that like this person is having the authority and he will be acting as a designee?
The city manager designates who his designee is.
Got it.
It's his choice.
Anyone else? Okay.
And did we mention all unions were notified and no issues or concerns were raised?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Being that there are no further questions, I would entertain a motion to adopt a resolution to amend Rule 1 of the Civil Service Rules and Regulations for miscellaneous employees and Rule 1, Section 5 of the Civil Service Rules and Regulations for Police and Fire Employees.
I motion we approve.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone oppose? Abstention? Very good. We are now at new business, and we have 2 annual equal employment reports. The first one is information technology. Do we have a representative from that area?
We do. We have Information Technology Officer Tom Hennig from the department.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Sloan, Commissioners.
Would you like to give us an overview or a thought?
Information technology, in concert with our work with human resources, is hiring a lot of people. We've been successful to some degree. We've been unsuccessful to others. Human resources have been very helpful with us in bridging the gaps of the vacancies and helping us reduce the number of vacancies. Currently, how many recruitments do we have in play right now? We currently have 11 vacancies, and I think we're recruiting 3 or 4 current positions. We've done a good job filling some of the positions in newly created Enterprise Resource Planning Division. Norbert Ruling is here to help with any questions specific to that. But, you know, we've found some challenges, and I think we're doing a good job, but we're not getting as many folks here that want to come to Stockton and work as we'd like. We're working with HR to help solve some of these issues, but and one of the things that HR's done a really great job with us is they're helping us consolidate some very disparate classifications, such as technology support specialists and systems analysts, that allow us to have a long-term career path. You can now come in as a systems analyst 1, and over the next 5 to 10 years, promote all the way up to senior systems analyst without having to take a jump or a pay cut in between. They've also assisted us tremendously with reactivating an internship program we have with the Computer Engineering Division at the University of Pacific. Last half of last year, we had 4 interns from the University of Pacific. They go back and they finish their degree. A couple of them will be applying for jobs at entry level when we start recruiting for the Systems Analyst 1 position. We have offers out to 8 students for effectively coming towards the end of December, January. We're hoping we get 4 of those students to come with and join us. What we're finding is the kids, the students, the young adults, enjoy coming to work, learning about Stockton. We have them go out to all the departments to give presentations, training, help build information databases for their use, training on SharePoint, training on Outlook, training on finance stuff. And what we're finding is they're learning what's going on at utilities, at public works, and it's igniting their ideas. Well, this is where I want to stay working. So what we found is most of the students from UOP were going over the hill to, you know, Sunnyvale and such, or up to Sacramento. And once they get used to that lifestyle, once they finish school, they've already got job offers. So HR has been tremendous in promoting this program. We're having difficulties recruiting some of the higher level positions for the EPM, for the Enterprise Resource Planning Project. And these are the managers, people who've been involved in IT or administration for 8 or 10 years. And they're currently going over the hill and making $170,000, $180,000 a year, and they're not really wanting to take those $80,000 pay cuts just so they can, you know, get home sooner or leave later to go to work. And the fact of the matter is they've built their life around those salaries, and we can't match them. So hopefully we can find some that are, you know, a little bit less paid so they can make the change and make the lifestyle change to stay here in Stockton. But if not, we'll continue to struggle recruiting those positions. And I'll entertain questions, I guess.
I'd like to point out that this department was in existence and then it went away.
Yes.
Basically, it was, some of the duties were absorbed by other departments, and that was a disaster in my opinion when I used to work with the city. IT is such an integral part of what we do, especially in today's time. So this is relatively a new department, and you're creating it and putting it together. I'm impressed that you were able to fill 10 vacancies over the last time frame, and even though you still have 11, I think that's a huge accomplishment in itself, and I think it needs to be recognized. This is a very specialized area. It's not like the average Joe can walk in and do some of these things. So it requires some skill sets that are different.
Absolutely.
I wanted to recognize, too, the training programs that you have, that it's not just what HR offers, which is excellent training elements, but you look to the outside, like the League of Cities and what have you, to be on the forefront of what I think are the trends of what's going on in the field. So I wanted to recognize you for that. That's basically my comments. So good luck with the development of this department, because I know it takes a while for something like that to come to reality.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments?
I have a question. So in IT world, like a majority of, like you talk about on the other side of Hill, right, in the Bay Area, there's a lot of telecommuters who work from home and all that. So is it an option on this side or no?
Not necessarily. You know, at a certain level of the management positions, we allow telecommuting on an occasional basis with the approval of the director. But in general, our folks work here. We don't experience a lot of people commuting from the Bay Area to work in Stockton. Sometimes we get people from Livermore or Dublin applying because it's kind of a reverse commute, and quite a few people commute down from Sacramento. But you know, we need people to be on staff. You know, most of our managers are working managers where they're going and conducting meetings, doing planning projects, project management of IT projects, meeting with other departments on budgetary issues, on IT-related issues. So telecommuting is available. It's just not super common.
And like, I know that with the police department, as Madam Chair said, that it's a brand new department which you're building, kind of like new, right? So are you having a lot of turnover on there?
You know, I wouldn't say we have a lot of turnover, but we do have, you know, we're having some attrition through retirements. Some attrition through retirements, and we're losing some people to jobs that are more lucrative over in the Bay Area and Sacramento. But not, I wouldn't say a whole lot. I think the morale in the department overall is pretty good. It's improving as we bring in some of these young people. The interns add a lot of upbeat moods to the department because they're doing fun stuff and they enjoy working there.
Thank you.
I think the diversity in the department should also be recognized, that when you look through the numbers and the ethnic diversity of their department, they're a very diverse department. And I think that also should be recognized and appreciated by them. And they also, IT, works with all of our departments. So the increase in diversity, I think, is helpful and reflective in the services that they provide for the whole city.
Okay. Anyone else?
I wanted to commend you in the efforts reaching out to the students at UOP. Are you doing that with Stanislaus State as well? And
we've reached out to Stan State. We haven't had any luck talking to them. We've reached out to Sacramento State, and we've met with them, and I think we got to them a little late in the program, so they've already done their career fairs. And but next year, I believe we'll have success possibly getting somebody from Stan and Sac State, hopefully students that like live in Stockton or in the area and they cannot travel so far for their intern jobs. And then we actually had an intern for a short period of time from UC Davis, and a Stockton student who during the summer we were able to do a little bit of an internship program. She did a wonderful job. I must say though that UOP is very unique in the program in that their internship is what they call a co-op program. So when the students are working for us, they're getting college credit. So they literally don't go to school, they go to work. They pay their tuition, and we offset them with pay. That's why it's a 6-month program. So it's very good in that area. And two of the students we had the last run, they came to UOP specifically because of the co-op program. So when we talk to Sac State, and when we're trying to talk to Stan State, we want to tell them the same thing. Can you guys find a way to develop this program? And I think because it's computer science and engineering, it's in the engineering school at UOP, which has mechanical, the civil engineers, and that's more of a historical deal where they go out and they work with the streets and the lights and such. So the UOP is kind of an option for the computer science and engineering school.
I could understand the on-job training is probably more educational than in the classroom kind of
We
training.
work these guys, so yeah, they get a lot out of it.
And my last question is, besides salary competition in the Bay Area, what other incentives do you feel could be offered, be competitive?
Well, we talked about this. We've talked about this recently. There's one thing that we look at. There's a lot of people who have a lot of management skills in IT who didn't finish college. And the upper level jobs for IT mandate a college degree. I think having a college degree is very helpful. I think at this stage of the game, it's very reasonable to transfer 5 or 10 years worth of leadership in any type of environment to substitute that last little bit of a college degree.
I agree.
I think we have quite a few candidates that we've not been able to see because of the college degree alone. Very qualified people who come to us and say, is there anything you can do about it? And we work with HR, and we believe HR is there where it goes, but that's one area you could help us. Another interesting area that came up, and I guess it's a millennial thing. I think Marcina said they call the defined benefit, what is it? The golden handcuffs? So those of us who've been in civil service for a long time, we know you got to get to 55, now you got to get to 62 to get the retirement, the defined benefit retirement. Now, it's very interesting because now that we bring in the kids or the young adults and they're like, geez, I got to work until I'm 60 to get a decent retirement from here. When my friends got 401ks, they're doing this stuff. So it's been suggested that there be an opt-out of retirement in lieu of more pay and let them decide where they put their money. So it sounded creative to me. I don't know what kind of ears that fell on, Deanna, so let me just show that.
Sure, Cal Purser loved that, right?
Allowing the city manager to designate somebody to sign on his behalf, that reduces the recruitment time. And that's a big thing for us because people are looking for work. And while we're sitting around waiting 2 more weeks for this, 2 more weeks for that, another month before civil service meets again to certify a list, stuff like that, people get job offers and they need to work. And then, other than salaries, I think it would help to possibly look at bonuses, but I don't know how you would do that. I hear bonuses, I think not in government. But, people that are not so long in government, they think, why not? Why not create performance incentives for project managers to bring their projects in on time and to have the success of, testing to go on everything on schedule without fail, But I don't know how that works. It just sounded to me like that'll never happen. But, you never know.
Something to be explored.
Yeah.
Compensation
Yeah.
is always complicated.
Nowadays, you have to think outside the box to be competitive in unique and in-demand positions. So completely understand.
Yeah, and getting back to all the program managers we're trying to hire, those positions in the private sector, for people who are getting the job done, do pay quite a bit more than we pay here. The incentive is we're close to home, and if you start in government, you really don't get used to that big 3-figure salary when you're 25 years old. So,
Absolutely. Thank you.
thank you for asking.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I will entertain a motion to adopt the annual Equal Employment Report from Information Technology Department.
So moved?
Chair,
Seconded?
this is an informational item.
It was
What's that?
information only.
Yes. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
it is
I'm
infor-
just, I'm,
no,
no,
we
I'm-
have to-
I apologize.
We have to approve it. Yeah. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone oppose? Abstention? Very well. Thank you for that excellent report. Our next one is the Municipal Utilities Department.
We have the Director, John Abreu, here.
Oh, okay, John.
Hi, good evening, or good afternoon. Here, reporting to report on our annual employment report. A little different than IT, where we kind of held the same over last year. However, with 215 or 216, excuse me, budgeted positions, we do seem to have some coming and going, whether it be retirements, separations, and filling those vacancies. I wouldn't say we've had any issues per se, specifically filling anything on the masses. We, like most departments, we're seeing a lot of new folks come in, new blood. Some of our groups as a whole do have less experience than years past, but that's just, I think, part of the state of the workforce out there right now, which has also been exciting for MUD too, to see a lot of new people come in the industry, because there is a lot of opportunity, whether it be in water or wastewater, and getting those certifications and having a career where there's growth. So again, with us, our last year has been more of just sort of hiring as people have come and gone, and we pretty much have held the same in terms of our total staffing. We continue to, with the assistance of HR, look for creative ways to recruit and get our opportunities out there, whether it be from trade organizations or other means that HR has available to, I guess, reach the broadest audience in terms of the opportunities we have at municipal utilities. So anyhow, that's kind of what I have right now. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer any of those.
Well, a point of clarification, you have 15 vacancies now?
As of
September the 5th?
right, correct.
Where are you in that recruitment process?
I think some of them are already filled. I mean, they're all in the process, I should say. I mean, a couple have been filled already. Some we're interviewing. I mean, it's just a constant. Is that your question? I'm sorry.
Could HR tell me how many of these positions are being recruited currently?
Well, currently, right now, I'm recruiting for 4 positions. Again, this report was done on September 5th, so a lot of those positions have been filled, and new positions have come available through promotions and different things like that. So I am working on some new positions right now, but we pretty much, like John said, have maintained a pretty consistent level over the past year, keeping that percentage of total number of employees up there.
Okay. I think it would have been helpful for this report if there had been any kind of update that could have been provided for today, so that we have a little better understanding of the real true vacancy. I know people come and go. It's part of what happens. With that being said, I read in the report that there were let me make sure I have it right, 9 positions were vacated due to retirement, separation, and/or transfer. It raises the question for me, do you have a succession plan?
It's something that we're working on, and like I mentioned, with a lot of new folks, that's something that we're consciously trying to do to develop redundancy in our department, and we have added the last few years a couple of positions. So particularly where we have legal obligations with our permit, whether it be a water or wastewater system, so that we have the redundancy, even if somebody's just out on vacation, or God forbid long-term absences, and also for vacancies and retirements, because obviously we still have to deliver these services. So that is something that we've consciously built in, and we are training for.
I think in these days and times when we're an aging population, I'm part of it, so I can say that. But that's something that you really seriously need to think about in today's business plan as you're moving forward, and that's across all departments, actually. It's just as an opinion of mine, because people come and go, and you've got to have somebody plug the hole until you get somebody hired. And so to know that you can rely on someone to take my place, just like Commissioner Sanchez is here to take my place if I can't be here. So those are important things that I think oftentimes municipalities don't always think about, but I think it's more important than ever. And true, too, I think if you can prove that you have a succession plan, millennials who are coming in right out of college and what have you, if they can see there's an opportunity for advancement, that shows them that there is that opportunity. The only other comment I have about your report is I noticed you did a fine job of mentioning all the trainings that I believe these are HR trainings, a list of them that they offer. And thank you, HR, for all that hard work that you do, because these are important areas such as customer service, ethics, handling stress. Lord knows we need that, right? Professional communication and what have you. What do you do outside of the city in terms of training your employees?
It's a great question. I mean, obviously we are of a technical nature, so whether it be trainings mandated by regulatory agencies or some of our industry associations, professional industry associations in water, wastewater, stormwater, we're actively involved. They themselves have some certification programs that you get industry individuals together that train on things. So we're very active in organizations like CWEA and AWWA, CWEA is the California Water Environment Association, AWWA is the American Water Works Association. So things like that, we're constantly sending people through these things to get certified and trained to make sure we're current on industry. So it's constant. It's every month there's things going on for our team.
I think for your future report, toot that horn, because I think people don't realize how much it takes to run a municipal department, utilities department. There's a ton of certifications that are required, so toot the horn in your next report so that, I was aware of that, but it'd be good to let others know it as well. Are there any other questions from anyone else?
No, I do have a comment. I, on a regular basis, receive from Contra Costa County and Alameda County the same positions that you have open. So I can just imagine the competition, especially being in the Central Valley, the salary difference in the Bay Area. So just my observation.
Do you ever shadow other departments, similar departments in other cities or counties, just to see how they operate? Best practices, I guess you would call it.
We do, and a lot of it's through our industry associations, where we have the same people at different levels coming together to talk about the state of the industry, how they do things, why they do things, current regulatory environment, whether some emerging regulatory. We are in California, so there's always something coming down that we got to be prepared for to making sure we're in compliance. So that's constant, and that's why we're involved in these associations, for training, for making sure we're benchmarking ourselves correctly. So we are trying to operate as efficient as possible.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Seeing no other further questions, I would entertain a motion to adopt the annual Equal Employment Report from Municipal Utilities Department.
I motion we adopt.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone oppose? Abstentions? Okay. Thank you very much, both of you, for coming before us. Appreciate it. We are now at reports, written, communications, and informational items. We have nothing slated for today. So we're now at the opportunity for the board or the commissioners to make any kind of comments or announcements?
I have an announcement, or a comment, really, that, about the fires that have been going on in the Santa Rosa area, Napa area. It may be a different county, but I know many families here locally have been affected. Just a week before we shipped my granddaughter off to college in Santa Rosa, following week, the house is burned down. And I cannot tell you how it has affected us overall. And there are hundreds and hundreds of families that have been affected. When you see the devastation of the whole community just burnt to ashes, it's just devastating. So please keep them in your hearts and prayers for them to find a home for them. A lot of animals have been displaced and whatnot. So, yes, sir.
Well, you're absolutely right, and a couple of our team members, like, they lived in those communities, and they lost their houses, to be specific, like at least 10 of them. And there is organization, like, which was made recently, and from San Joaquin, the Sikh community especially, and the South Asian community, they have gathered like 4 trucks, like for like all the utensils and everything, all day-to-day items, and they are constantly working on it. So like San Joaquin, like the Sikh temple, and the Lodi, a couple of other non-profit organizations are actively just working in Sonoma. So we are doing our fair share as a community from Stockton and San Joaquin.
That's good. That's nice. Commissioner Sylvester.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Just want to take this opportunity to thank the rest of the commissioners and rest of the leaders. My first sit-in here, and I'm privileged to be here to serve as a new commissioner, and I vowed to come in, not say anything. I just want to observe as I get my feet wet to see how things run and to see how things move along before I start giving my input. So I take a position of servitude and learning as I learn from those who've gone before me, so I can add whatever I need to in the future, all right? In terms of making Stockton and our offices a much better place.
Staff, do you have any comments or anything to add?
I just want to thank Commissioner Sylvester, especially for his serving on this commission and putting in his application. As we thank all of you, we couldn't do our jobs. The rules dictate that we have to come to you for these things, so it's imperative for us and for our operations. So we truly, truly appreciate the time and the commitment from each of the commissioners and everything that you guys give to us. And so I just sincerely don't get to thank you enough, honestly.
Quite welcome.
Okay. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Abstention? We're done. All righty, Buckaroo.
We're staying.